Well, let's talk about that number one league of yours, the Premier League. We had the big North London derby, man. Arsenal, Tottenham. Arsenal came out 3-2. Couple of refereeing decisions though that went their way. Let's talk about them. So they went up 1-0, own goal.
Yep.
The second goal though, couple potential air quote potential fouls that didn't go Tottenham's way. Arsenal go right down the field. Saka scores a goal. Were they
Also,
fouls for you?
before we get past that little scenario there, what a ball
Okay.
by Kai Havertz. What a ball.
Was a great ball. Fantastic first
Anyways,
touch too.
continue.
Maybe a little lucky first touch there for Saka. I don't know. We'll see. I think he got a little lucky with that first touch,
I think he's
but it
more
set him
lucky
up.
with the poor defending on him, letting him go to his left foot. So,
That's true. That is also true. But were those fouls in the build-up for you?
which one do you want to start with?
Well, I think there's the clipping that Trossard clips Kulisevsky's foot, and
Okay.
he
You want to start with
kind of
that one? All right.
stumbles.
Yeah.
I think that's the most obvious one. I think the tackle from Declan Rice on James Madison. Declan Rice gets the ball. I don't think it's.
Gabrielle, I think it is.
It was
And
Declan.
Saliba clips the back of him as Gabrielle's getting the ball.
It was Declan
Okay.
that won the ball.
Okay. Well, no matter what, I
Got the
I think
ball.
the Madison one, you're right. Kulisevsky one, I've heard so many people complain about this one and say it's a foul. I don't think so, and let me tell you why. First off, he hits the ball too far out in front of him. So the ball essentially, it's him and Trossard going to the ball. So there's no one within the vicinity of the ball. He's also going away from goal. Kulisevsky cuts across Trossard. Trossard does not initiate the contact. I think Kulisevsky does. Hence why it's not a penalty. I've heard the question, if it was anywhere else on the field, would it be a foul? And I think because Kulisevsky cut across Trossard, I don't think it would have been a foul anywhere on the field.
I think what also hurts Kulisevsky is he takes 3 steps.
I agree. And I've heard people say, why don't you just go down? You get in the box, you get contact. Michael Oliver was right there. So
So I'm gonna ask you 2 questions then. The first one: if that happens to an Arsenal player, would you think it's a foul, or is your Tottenham bias coming
probably
out?
probably my bias during the match would say yes. During the match. And then watching it a couple more times, I probably would say no.
Okay, so then that
I
kind of
would
leads me
feel
to my second
if it
question:
was
is
given, I would say it's really harsh. But then again, if it was given, I don't think VAR overturns it. So
so that's kind of my second question. If the referee gets sent to the monitor for a second look, does he give it?
I don't think so. Michael
You
Oliver
don't
was too
think
close
so?
to it. I think he was too
I think
close
he
to it.
gives it if he goes to the monitor on a second look.
I don't think so.
I don't get me wrong. I think if it's given as a foul, it's a very soft one. But we've seen him given. I don't think it would get overturned. But at the same time, I think if Michael Oliver goes to the monitor for a second look, he probably gives it.
Hmm. Well, it's been very inconsistent this season, whether those are fouls or not. We've seen it happen in multiple games, so it could have gone either way.
It really could have, and this was a huge moment because
It
this goes
was
from Spurs getting a potential penalty to now being 2-0 down.
in the span of what, 10
30
seconds,
seconds, yeah.
maybe.
Just it happened so quick, and it just completely changes the game for Spurs at least.
Yeah,
Who then
I
go
mean,
down another goal after Kai
exactly.
Havertz scores
Yeah.
off a corner.
Oh man. Yeah, and aside from the shouts for penalties, I think Spurs were really bad in this match.
Really?
I think the scoreline flatters them. I mean, Arsenal handed them 2 goals. Handed them 2 goals. I mean, David Raya caught in 2 minds. That was awful. It was absolutely awful. And then Declan Rice not looking over his shoulder and essentially kicking, I forget who it was, whether it was
Ben
Madison or
Davis.
Kulis. Yeah, Ben Davis kicks him in the nuts. I felt
Yeah,
so bad for
straight up.
Ben Davis. Oh my god! They showed it like 6 times on replay, and every single time my groin hurt worse and worse and worse.
So interesting though, the ref had to go to the monitor for a second look at that one to give that penalty.
Yeah,
Didn't
and
see it live.
the crazy thing is he did see it, but he was on
He
the
was in a
other
good
side.
position.
He was a great position because you see it in the replay. He's standing right there.
Yeah, right
But
behind the action.
I think it's because of the angle he had, right? Because he's on the other side of Ben Davis. That's why he didn't see it. And I mean, he went to the monitor and literally saw one look of it, like barely stopped, turns around and calls a penalty. So
Yeah.
yeah, I it was
Mickey
a
Van de
penalty.
Ven
Right?
Mickey Van de Ven also had a goal taken back due to offsides just by literally Gabriel's butt cheeks, man. Like
Yeah,
he sucked him in
literally.
to keep to get him offside.
Really though,
He did
like
a little butt clench and whoop, put him offside.
right when the ball was kicked. Yeah.
So your
Well,
overall
I don't know if it's because he thought Van der Ven was offsides or because he thought he was onside, so his butt clenched. So
So
I don't know.
I disagree with you. I think Tottenham played well. They controlled the game for the most part. Like going in at halftime, I was like, how is this 3-0? How have they I mean it's set pieces. That's why it was 3-0. They
Yeah.
conceded on a couple corners, but honestly, they controlled the game, had the possession. They just couldn't do anything with the ball.
And that's why I say they didn't play well because Arsenal were happy to just sit there and say, "Hey, score on us."
And
And
that
if
was
it
it.
wasn't for two
Arteta came out with
mistakes,
a different match plan for this game
yeah, and
instead of going in that all out attack.
if it wasn't for the two mistakes, I don't think Spurs score in this game at all. Because what did they create in this match shot wise? I know there was the Romero header that hit the bar. And that was it. James Madison was non-existent in this match.
That's why he got subbed off.
Yeah,
He was non-existent. Romero was their biggest threat.
yeah. Mickey Van der Ven got a goal, right? He was the one that
Yeah, he
kicked it
scored
to.
the offside. No, Romero scored the one.
Okay, well, yeah, then there you go. Romero was their only threat. But yeah, I don't. I think if Arsenal didn't give them 2 goals, I think Arsenal probably scores more. To be honest with you, I mean Spurs were. That was the worst I've ever seen a team defend set play. Like the whole match, every single time Arsenal got a set piece, you're like, they're gonna score.
Well, in the first half, we saw Ben White just having his way with
Oh,
Vicario.
the dark arts of Ben White, man. That was the most fun I've ever had watching a player mess with a goalie. Trying to take
That,
his glove off. That
that was
was
hilarious.
brilliant.
I will say the second half they changed it up. Basuma came in and was marking Ben White then because Ben White was kind of just having his way with Vicario.
Yeah.
But then they brought in Basuma to try to contain Ben White.
Yeah, I don't even know why Basum was on the bench unless he's coming off an injury, which I don't remember him doing. So, and then, yeah, I mean, for Arsenal, Thomas Partey being back, you can see how much that they benefited from that. And then I just think Arsenal rubbed the floor with Tottenham. And
Well,
then
you're
rubbed the
not
floor
wrong.
with themselves at the same time. So
Arsenal's biggest threat was Arsenal in this game.
it
But I
really
mean, it
was.
keeps them top of the Premier League by a hair,
By a hair.
which is crazy because they could win out all these games and still not
Still lose
be
the title.
champions.
Yeah. And we'll
Yeah.
get to that here in a second. But first, I want to talk about Spurs.
Okay.
Because I know we've both heaped a lot of praise on Big Ange.
At the
But
beginning
why
of the
is no
season,
one
yeah.
talking about him not having a single plan B? I mean, this second half of the season, they've been awful.
What are you talking about, man? Everyone's talking about him not having a plan B. And they've been talking about that since the Chelsea game, where he died from that high line because he does have no plan B. He just has his one way, and that's the way they're gonna play. Everyone's talking about it, man. We've been talking about it for months.
Sorry, why is nobody talking about it more? Because in the Premier League, you got a Luton who is, high press, high attack, not great in defense. And then you play a Everton who's going to sit back on you the whole time. And you'll play a Brighton who's going to fly at you at all times during a match. And then you have Chelsea who knows what they're going to do match to match. Same with Man United. And you play a City who's going to have the ball the whole time but play it sideways a lot. You got to have more than one way to play. they only seem to have one.
Yeah, we know. Duh.
Okay.
You new to
Well,
watching Tottenham, man? I mean, it's
no.
been this way for. I mean, that's why they died at the Sword of Newcastle the week before. Newcastle put like 4 by them.
I guess what I'm trying to ask is, do we give too much credit to this Spurs side and Ange
When have
Postecoglou?
we been giving credit to the Spurs side since January? Have we given any credit to them?
Well, I mean, you picked them to finish in the top 4
I did.
above Villa. It looks like it's pretty much not going to happen at this point.
Yeah, it's looking slim.
I mean, I hope it goes down to the last week of the season so they have something to play for against City, but they lose 2 games and they're out pretty much.
And so yeah, they're tough games. They have to go to Anfield. And
Yeah,
then
on the
that
weekend.
Man City game. But I think they can beat Chelsea. They can beat Burnley. And they can beat Sheffield. So
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Chelsea rubbed the floor with them last time out. So we'll see what happens midweek. And then they play
did
Liverpool.
they? I don't remember that game.
Didn't they? Wasn't it like 5-2, something like that? A
I
bunch
don't
of
know,
couple
man.
of red cards.
Oh yeah, it was 4-1.
There you go.
The red cards. You're right.
So that game could go any way. They lose that game, they lose Liverpool. They have nothing to play for the rest of the season. So that City game could be, yeah, whatever. We got one thing to play for, and it's to make sure Arsenal lose the league. That would be it. So,
But they could also beat Chelsea,
yeah,
draw Liverpool, beat Burnley, and then have something to play for against
yeah.
City.
Which leads me into my next question: is will they be able to catch Villa? Because Villa don't have an easy schedule either.
Probably not, just because it's a. I mean, even with their games in hand, they'll still, if they win both their games in hand, they'll still be a point behind. Which
If they
makes me
win,
think,
if they win
no,
both their games in hand, I will be happy for them to finish 4th because that means Arsenal win the title. So I will be happy. Do I think it's going to happen? I hope, but I don't think so. I mean, Villa, their schedule is not easy either.
I mean, they go to Brighton, they host Liverpool, and then they got Crystal Palace. But then they're also still in the Europa League.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, the European Conference League.
Or European Conference League, sorry.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's not an easy schedule, but you can see them, they could. Brighton's been so bad, it's hard for me to say they're going to drop points there. Liverpool, I could see it. Palace has been playing really
Crystal
good
Palace
lately.
have been playing well lately, yeah.
So I don't know. It could go any which way. It's going to be exciting. Liverpool pretty much have secured 3rd place at this point. So it's everybody sandwiching them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Kai Havertz. And we've talked about him a lot this season. Yet another game-winning goal and an assist that at the time would have won them the match as well. But like, as far as money spent on him, is he a signing of the season or should be in the discussion for it?
No.
Why not?
Because the signing of the season plays well the whole season.
Okay. Is
Cole
Cole Palmer in the discussion for
Cole
signing
Palmer's
of the season?
better. Declan Rice has been a better signing.
I disagree about Cole Palmer.
You're the
Him
only
and Kai
person I think
Havertz
that
have
would
the
disagree.
same. They have the same amount of goals in open play with 11. That's how many penalties Cole Palmer has scored this season.
Yeah, but you also have to look at the context. Context matters in this. I mean, yeah, Cole Palmer's got 20 goals, 9 assists. What does Kai Havertz have?
I think it's 12 and 6, if I'm not mistaken. It might be 12 and 5.
I think it is, yeah, 12 and 6.
So I'm
Cole
just
Palmer's
saying
also
value for
played
money.
6
I'm not
games
saying
less.
I'm not saying he's signing the season. I'm just saying
You
he
just
should
said
be.
player of the season.
I said should he be in the conversation of signing of the season? I think Declan Rice is signing of the season. I do not think Kai Havertz
I think
or
McAllister
Cole
I would
Palmer.
put over Kai Havertz
Value
as well.
for money, yes, but again, McAllister hasn't performed week in and week out all season.
He was also half as much as Kai Havertz cost.
Yes, and he was what? What is that? A third of Declan Rice? But that's how good Declan Rice has been this season for me. Anyways, that's the discussion about signing of the season. I think he should be in the same conversation as Cole Palmer if Cole Palmer's in for signing of the season. That's all I'm saying.
Disagree. Cole Palmer is definitely in the discussion for signing of the season. Kai Havertz, I don't think is.
I do not rate penalties as highly as you, apparently.
Hell, apparently haven't taken very many, man. Because they're
I've
pressure.
taken a
Those
lot.
some of these big pressure games, yeah.
I've taken a lot.
Especially for a young teenager like that. Or I guess he's not a teenager, he's 21, but still very young.
In football terms, that's a teenager, essentially.
And a lot of them are game winners, too. In the last minutes of some of these games.
I'm just saying. Kai Havertz deserves more respect on his name for value of money.
He just
Cole Palmer.
Again, I don't think he did. I will say he deserves more respect for what he's done lately, but he also didn't do shit from September to January, and I don't think you can disagree with me on that.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, but he also didn't play much.
He played a lot. What are you talking about, man? He was starting all these games.
Gotta let me finish.
He's played 34 games. How has
Gotta
he not
let me
played
finish.
a lot?
Gotta let me
He's played
finish.
in all but one game.
Let me finish.
No, you don't need to finish. He's played
Let
in
me
every
finish.
game but one.
Let me finish. At striker. That was the rest of my sentence.
Well, he didn't do shit in midfield, that's for sure. But yes, since he got
because
moved to
not
striker, he has
he's not
done
a
better.
midfielder. He's not a midfielder. I don't care what
Apparently,
anyone
Mikel
says.
Arteta thought he was
He's
a midfielder.
not a midfielder. He's not. Maybe as a false nine if you consider that a midfielder, but he's not a midfielder.
Don't. Yeah.
I don't either. So, anyways, we spent enough time on this topic. You guys let us know down below in the comments.
Yes. Kai Havertz is signing of the season.
It's not what I said, but okay.
In the conversation.
It's not what I said.
Value for money, whatever you said.
I said, should he be in the conversation?
No. But let's move on to Man City. Speaking of Man City, they did not play very well against Nottingham Forest, but somehow eked out a 2-0 win.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, he must be a City fan.
He is.
He missed
some
open chances.
I saw a tweet of his from 2012 where he was chanting, City, City, City. The man is diehard City fan, and you could tell in this match.
You could tell.
You could tell.
People
complaining about referees being fans of teams. People should be on Chris Wood about this performance because he had, 3, 4, 5 open goal opportunities and either missed the ball or put it wide.
That first one, man, in the first half, he just shanks.
It doesn't even look upset about it.
Not at all.
Like, come on, man. Do your job.
It's like that meme with a stick where you're poking something. Like, do something.
Do something. He's got one job. Put the ball in the net. That's the only reason why they got him.
And he's actually been scoring some goals lately.
I know.
Is a thing.
But not in this match. Any other match, he puts all of those in the net. I digress.
I kind of want to talk about some of City signings here for a second.
All right.
Jeremy Doku, Gvardiol, Nunez, Kovacic.
Okay.
Are any of them been good?
Gvardiol's had glimpses, I would say. He's got a couple goals to his name lately.
I would say lately, like the past month, he has performed well.
Jeremy Doku's been hit or miss. Sometimes
Jeremy Doku had one good game, man. One. Against Bournemouth at the Etihad.
I think yes, he's young. He's got tons of potential. When he has the ball at his feet, he's very exciting to watch. I'm not going to say that he dribbles past everybody because clearly he doesn't.
He's like Vinny Jr.
No, I think City bought him for his raw talent, and Pep wants to turn him into something. But other than that, yeah, you're right. Nunez and Kovacic have been terrible signings, in my opinion.
I don't think Kovacic was bad because they got him for fairly cheap.
And a fire sale from Chelsea. So,
but Nunez, man, They spent quite a bit of money on him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, was it like 65 mil, somewhere
Something
around
like
there?
that. And so
Yeah,
it's just guy
I
barely
think
plays.
Pep's recruitment this summer was not great. Then again, they didn't get most of their first choice options either, so I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Vardiol was their first choice option, and I mean he's been playing right back pretty much or left back,
Left back, yeah.
but he has not been playing center back, which is his natural position.
But he has scored a couple bangers here recently.
He has, and I did not know he had that in him, which is credit
Me
to him.
neither, man.
Credit to him. Those were some amazing goals. So,
But
City
go
win
ahead.
again.
Yeah.
City win again. Not surprising to anybody. I don't think really anyone thought that they were going to lose that game. I thought Forest might give them a little bit more of an effort, but I know you don't think they're going to lose a game the rest of the season.
It's hard to see him losing, man.
For me, it's really all going to depend on if Spurs are still in the Champions League fight when they play them. I think that's the only way they lose a game.
I
And
mean,
I
if
don't
you
think
look
they
at,
lose. I think they draw. I don't think they lose.
I mean, a draw would do it, right, with Arsenal's goal difference. But I mean, they got Wolves next. Wolves.
Yeah. They tend to cause them a little bit of problems, but it's at the Etihad, so
It is
I
at
don't
the
think they
Etihad,
lose.
so that's. And then Wolves have had their injuries of late.
Mm-hmm.
Fulham at Craven Cottage.
They can.
I don't think
I
so
mean,
though.
they cause some teams problems, but I don't. I don't. It's City. I don't think they will. I think it's literally down to the Spurs game.
Then yeah,
The City will
Spurs,
not lose on the last game of the season if it comes down to the title, is if they win or lose.
and that's against West Ham. Who I don't know. Maybe West Ham they just drew
Could.
Liverpool here, so
Yeah,
they
they
beat
could.
Arsenal earlier, so maybe. But again,
But
not
they
high
also
hopes.
got whooped on the weekend, didn't they? Or
Who's that?
West Ham, either
West Ham
midweek,
drew Liverpool.
midweek.
Oh, against in the Europa League.
No, I think they played Palace.
Oh yes, they did.
Yeah, they got whooped.
5-2.
Yeah,
That was last
so,
weekend, but yes.
okay, I was close.
But yeah, man, I don't see him losing a game, and if they don't lose the game,
They win the title. Yeah.
damn. Well, let's get to those surprise results that I mentioned. You know, Liverpool drew West Ham. This is an interesting
Man, was
game.
there some drama in this match, especially
On the
towards the end.
field, off the field, yeah. So there's that situation where Areola catches a ball, kind of goes down injured. Referee says play on. Areola doesn't play on. He goes to throw the ball out like it's a free kick. And then Gakpo starts running to the ball, about to put it in the net because he knows what's going on. And right before he gets there, man, Anthony Taylor blows his whistle. And it's a good thing he did, or it would have been a shit show. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't. What is Anthony Taylor doing though? Like
Well, what is Areola doing?
again, same point. I mean, Areola, he just throws the ball out and starts fixing the shin guards. And then after Anthony Taylor blows his whistle, he goes down hurt.
You see, Anthony Taylor like pulls him down. Like he
Yeah.
tells him, "You need to go down right now."
Yeah. I don't understand it at all. If I'm Cody Gakpo, even if I get a yellow card, I'm putting that ball in the net. I don't care.
It'd
I
make things
don't
interesting, that's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Anthony Taylor's had his refereeing blunders this year.
But I'm just
Add this
saying,
one to the book.
if Cody Gakpo puts that ball in the net, at least VAR has a look at it, whether or not Anthony Taylor blew his whistle beforehand or not.
He did just before.
I know, but VAR is still going to look at it. And if VAR says, well, that was a live ball, and Gakpo scores, that's a goal. So I think part of that is on Cody Gakpo for not putting that ball in the net. At least bringing up the discussion that it's a goal. But yeah, I don't. That was an odd sequence of events.
It was very odd.
Yeah.
Not one you see very often, right?
No.
Well, let's get onto the off-field drama, or sideline drama, I guess we could call.
I know.
So,
Speaking of odd scenarios.
Klopp
Didn't think
and
I'd ever see
Salah,
this.
man. Klopp
Holy
and
cow.
Salah. Like, Salah's getting ready to come on as a sub. Klopp, like, leans over and says something to him that apparently Mo Salah did not like.
Not at all. And he went after Klopp.
He
And then
did.
somehow the voice of reason in all of this is Darwin Núñez. Makes no sense. The guy with the hottest head on the entire Liverpool team is the guy is the voice of reason. What do you think Klopp said to him?
Some about his mama, apparently, because hot damn, he was pissed.
Oh my god! It has to be something about like, hey, I need you to put a performance in, and he
And
probably
he,
was pissed. He's like, I should have just been starting the match in the first place, you
that is
idiot.
probably what it is
Yeah,
obviously his playtime.
I mean, he hasn't played much, but he also hasn't been playing well. So I understand from both sides.
It is
He's
one of
just,
those things. I think as a Liverpool fan, you see Mo Salah not starting, you're probably not too upset with the way he's been playing.
yeah,
And so,
clearly
I mean,
he was.
apparently he was.
Yeah,
He thinks he should be playing at
and then
least. And then his comments after, as he's walking down the tunnel, they're asking for interviews. He says, "Oh, I can't speak or there'll be fire."
what the fuck
Like,
does that mean?
let me hear this fire, Mo Salah. Come on,
Like, come on, we're all waiting for it. Say it.
spit the
Say
fire.
it.
Dracaris, let's go.
Go. I mean, Klopp says after the match that it's over. Clearly, it
Yep.
wasn't. Clearly. And I don't think, unless Salah starts every game for the rest of the season, I don't think we've seen the end of this spat.
I think Salah does start the next game, just to kind of squash this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a big game. Spurs at home at Anfield. So you would think he would.
Interesting though. This was very interesting because I
It was.
mean they've had such a great relationship for all these years, and then just to see that
Yeah.
something else is
But,
going on. Maybe
I mean, their form has been really poor since
I was
the
gonna
FA
say,
Cup.
could this be leading to something, and why we're seeing these poor results lately?
I mean, Revolt is not far off either.
Revolt.
So. Yeah, I mean, for Christ's sake, they lost their first Merseyside derby since Mikel Arteta was playing for Everton. It's like 12 years ago.
It's their finishing, man. Their finishing is
It's been
atrocious.
so bad. And it's not for lack of opportunities either, which
And it's
is the worst part.
not only Darwin Nunez, but it's like Mo Salah, Diogo Jota
Luis
missing
Diaz.
chances.
Yeah.
Luis Diaz, yeah, man, they're all just missing chances. Like normally, you see a team and they're like a player will have a dip in form. This is like
Yeah.
they're a whole
Their
attacking
entire
line.
attack. Yeah.
Their
And
whole
the
attacking
subs.
line is having a dip in form.
Yeah. I don't understand it at all. And we were just, what was that? A couple weeks ago, we were talking about them being the best attacking team in the Premier League.
Well, I mean, a few weeks ago we were talking about them how they were few points
Going to
clear
win the
at
league.
the top.
Yeah. So did they bottle it? I mean, I'll put it this way. If this was Arsenal that did this, bottled it. 100%. Everybody would be saying that. But it's Liverpool.
People are saying Arsenal bottled it this season when they've had one loss since January in the league. Like,
yeah, but no one's talking about how Liverpool were leading the league by 3 points.
I mean,
And
at some
now
point it
they're
was like
5 points back of Arsenal. And they've one, like you said, one win in their last 5. How is that not bottling it? A team that's experienced enough and has won the title. Unlike Arsenal, who haven't won it in 20 years. With a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I don't want to call it bottling it. I hate that term.
I hate it too.
But they have been playing bad, and their form took a hard dive.
At the absolute wrong time. Yes.
Yes. Whether this happens if Klopp announces he's leaving or not,
I mean, when he announced
Something
it,
there?
they went on a tear.
they did. But now look at them.
It's there
Our
for
players
everyone
saying,
to
well,
see.
shit, I don't got to impress this coach anymore.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
Speaking of poor form, let's talk about Manchester United.
Is there a worse team in the Premier League right now? Besides Sheffield United?
Yeah. I don't know. Forest haven't been in best form, but maybe Brighton.
Yeah, I guess so.
Points wise, Brighton, yeah.
I mean, United have won the same amount of games in their last 5 as Burnley. They have the same amount of points in their last 5 games as Burnley does.
Burnley's been on a bit of a roll here, though.
Just saying. This is Manchester United we're talking about, not Burnley. I guess
This
we're
was
talking
also
about
at
both
Old
of them.
Trafford. We're talking about both of them because they played each other. This was at Old Trafford. They drew 1-1. Your favorite player, Anthony, gets on the score sheet in the 80th minute, only for Onana to come out with a Superman punch. About time you got called for one of those, man.
Right? This is literally the same exact thing that happened against Wolves the first game of the season.
This is like his
Comes
third
out
time he's
late,
done this.
punches the guy in the back of the head. Like, he wasn't
This
even
guy
near
in
the
the
ball.
face, man. This wasn't the back of the head. This is the face.
Well, I'm saying the Wolves one was the back of the head.
Yeah,
this one's
Wolves
worse. The face. He was like trying to knock him out for no reason.
Guy thought he was Chuck Liddell for a second coming out.
Right? Bringing back the name Chuck Liddell. Shit.
Right? I was trying to think of a UFC fighter. I was like,
Iceman.
who could I name that everyone
Iceman.
might know? But yeah, went to Chuck Liddell. Thought about Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre.
There's a lot.
But no, man, he came out swinging with them big old gloves like Chuck
Well,
Liddell.
It's a great. I'm going to compliment you on your reference, too, because the way his fight style was. It's like fucking like this.
It was like that. If you're listening on the podcast, make sure you check out the YouTube so you can see us do the Chuck Liddell fighting stance, because that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, United penalty shout, I guess, at the end. I don't think it was.
Weak penalty shout, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite part about this whole thing is Mr. Eric Ten Hag and his comments after the game.
Dude, I watch the end of the game just to hear his comments at this point.
He says they are one of the most dynamic and entertaining teams in the Premier League. He must be talking about Burnley, because there's no fucking way he's talking about Man United, right?
No, I know exactly.
That delusional?
I know exactly what he's talking about. But it's not the reasons that you're thinking. Okay?
It's because
they're one of the most dynamic teams, because they play differently every time you see them. They're one of the most entertaining teams because they either collapse or they play well.
Because it's like watching a freaking circus? Is that why it's entertaining?
Yeah, that's what he's saying that. I mean, I do think he's delusional, but I also think he's gaslighting the United fans.
Is there any way he keeps his job? Anyway.
Yeah.
Even if he wins the FA Cup, does he keep his job?
I do think there is a way he keeps his job. And I think it's because there's no better options out there.
There has to be someone better in this.
Because there's so many high-profile jobs out there right now. I don't think that they can get with the team they have and where they're playing right now. I don't think they can get a better coach.
I would say Thomas Frank from Brentford over Eric Ten Hag.
But if you're Thomas Frank and you're staying up, if you can keep
Manchester United, though.
I know, but it's the way that Manchester United is right now. I guess if Sir Jim Radcliffe comes in, sure. I mean, there's Graham Potter's out there too. He's really good with mid-table clubs, so just like
I think
United,
they gotta change it up.
I do too. I mean, let's be completely honest. There's no way he's keeping his job. I don't even care if you go for a Graham Potter or a Thomas Frank and go down a level. I don't think he stays.
Bring in Thomas Tuchel at this point, man.
You literally ask anybody. Part of it too is it's going to cost them a pretty penny to get rid of him.
It will.
So.
But I think it's worth it. What this guy is saying, man. Crazy.
Over my
Absolutely
head.
Crazy. Speaking of another coach not doing too well, Pochettino.
Yep.
His Chelsea team drew 2-2 with Villa. They played terrible in the first half, dude.
I will give them credit. They were 2-0 down and came back.
They came back, but they played terrible that first half.
Oh, that was like that second half against Arsenal.
It was. It was like that whole game against Arsenal, let's be honest. But they came back in the second half. Conor Gallagher with a golazo, man. Does he stay at Chelsea?
I mean, unless someone comes in with a big offer for him, I don't see why not.
Because I know there's a lot of rumors going around. Chelsea need to raise some money. Selling Conor Gallagher would be pure profit, as he's the one who came through the youth academy.
Yeah, it would. I don't know if they can spend any money at this point.
Well, if they sell him, that's what I'm saying. They'd have to sell. They're gonna have to sell some players.
Yeah, I think
Conor
you
Gallagher
could get some money for Raheem Sterling. I would probably get rid of
not.
him. He's not even
Thiago
starting.
Silva announced he's
He's
left.
leaving.
He's leaving
Yeah,
at the end of the season. Yeah.
that'll be a pretty penny of wages coming off your books, so that will help. So I think they could go any which way. Is it another season of you sell all your experienced players and sign a bunch of kids again? I don't know.
Hopefully not, because we see how that's working.
Yeah, either way, I think Chelsea probably have another mid-table finish next season with Pochettino as coach. So
Agreed. They thought they had a winner at the end of this game. Was that a foul for you in the build-up to that goal?
no,
Really?
I didn't think it was.
I did. I did think it was a foul.
Why?
Wasn't looking at the ball, and you can see a clear action towards the player as he was backing up, just a straight push into the player to put him off.
Okay.
If he goes straight up versus, going into the player, I would say, yeah, it's fine. But because he attempts to play the player, not the ball, I think it's foul. But let's talk about a team who's actually playing well right now and are officially safe from relegation. Everton.
3 in a row, man.
3 in a row. Good for them.
4 out of 5. Merseyside Derby win, beating Brentford, hopping above them in the table. Points deduction on top of all of this. I mean, it's what could have been. I mean, they'd be fighting for a top half finish, maybe even a European place if they didn't get that.
Good for them. At the other end, Sheffield United are officially relegated after their loss to Newcastle, in which they got thrashed. And Leicester City are officially coming back to the Premier League.
Good to see them back. Unfortunately for them, because of the profit and sustainability rules, they probably will start with a negative point total to start the season. But they were facing that in the championship if they stay there too. So I think it'll be less harsh with the Premier League dealing with it than the EFL. So,
well, we'll see. But now let's get to our relegation combined 11. So this is featuring team players from Sheffield, Burnley, Luton, and Forest, and we must use a player from each team, at least one.
They also have to be available for selection right now.
Yes, they have to be available for selection, and we're going off current form. Yes. So I'm going in goal, Thomas Kaminski from Luton. My right back, Nico Williams from Forest. Center backs, Willy Bolly and Murillo from Forest. Left back, Alfie
Doherty.
Doherty. There's no R in that, but you're right. Every time they say it, the announcers, it sounds like there's an R. My midfield consists of Gustavo Hammer, Ross Barkley, and Morgan Gibbs White. Pretty sure that's pretty obvious. My attacking front three are Anthony Elanga, Wilson Odobert, and Carlton Morris.
Nice.
How about yours?
All right. I, in goal, also have Thomas Kaminski.
Okay.
Been much better than the rest of the goalies there. Right back, I went Issa Kabore from Luton. Center back, Murillo and Teden Mengi, also from Luton.
Yeah.
Left
Luton
back,
defenders.
I went with all of Luton's center back three because they only play with back three. So Alfie Doherty as well. Morgan Gibbs White, Gustavo Hammer, and Ross Barkley, the ever-present Ross Barkley this season as my midfield. And then up front, I went with Anthony Elanga, Wilson Odobert, and because I can't choose between the two strikers of Luton, I went with the other one, Elijah Adebayo.
Okay. So I will say, for yours, Kabore, when I watch him, I like him, but then I also dislike him.
He's very, when he's good, he's really good. But when he's bad, he's really bad.
I feel like he's quick, and he's actually really good going forward, but sometimes defending, man, he worries me. Like
I said, when he's good, he's really good. When he's bad,
his positioning he takes up, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, but, it just worries me sometimes.
Every player that's in the relegation zone, most likely not in good form. And sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Maybe shit. It could go either way. It really could. But we do have the same midfield. I feel like that is a good midfield choice for the three.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right?
Especially having to pick a player from each team, because we found that difficult with Sheffield.
Yeah.
Or Burnley.
Yeah, Sheffield and Burnley. Yeah, that was tough. Because, some people don't know how to read directions. So, anyways, thank you for joining us for our 100th episode. Targo, happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
As always, this has been wonderful. Thank you all for listening along. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Brews FC, TikTok, Brews Banter FC. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, hit that notification bell. Check out Acorn Hills. Use the code BREWS25 for 25% off. And make sure you check out Redbubble because we got some pretty sweet merch, as Targo just showed you there. Until next time, my friends. Thank you for being here for the first 100. Here's to 100 more. We love you.
Cheers.
Happy St. Potteringham's Day.